What's up, Home Slice? This is Kiara with Home Slice Adulting coming to you with my review for episode 5 of Real Housewives of Atlanta, season number 10. Now, I will say that this episode was the first actually juicy episode of the season. Unfortunately, we had to wait until number 5 for things to get exciting, but let's get into it because there's actually a lot to talk about. We are back at the Girls and Gays Never Forget all white seafood soiree that Nene is hosting, and Kenya and Kim are still arguing, going back and forth. And so again, I will say this: if your children are off the table when it comes to arguing and bringing children into arguments and stuff like that, then somebody's inability or their lack of children should be off the table as well. So anyways, Coy comes out of nowhere. I was unaware that Coy was at the party, and Kim is flipping out, and she's like, "Don't talk about my daughter." And then Kenny says, "You already did." And then Kim throws something and breaks something expensive. I'm assuming expensive because it's Nene's house, but she breaks something inside the house. And I'm like, well, Kenya's only saying things that are true. And y'all, I do not like Kenya, if I haven't made it clear before. I'm trying to give her a little bit of a break this season because like nobody else is really about this marriage, which may or may not be real. But this time around, I'm more on Kenya's side than Kim's side. And so anyways, Kim says, you know, nobody should mess with my man, my money, or my kids. Notice kids was last. And Kim says that you know, whatever I'm posting is not for your eyes. And it's like, if you post something on Twitter, it's available around the world. So what do you mean it's not for her eyes? And I mean, it was probably a story on it. I'm not a big follower of Twitter, so I did not know about this post until I heard it on Ford's Rocks review. If you put it on Twitter, it's low-hanging fruit. It's, you know, all's fair. And so anyways, I'm very glad that people who were at this party saw both sides of the argument and that nobody put all the blame on Kenya, because a few seasons ago, because people generally don't like Kenya or didn't like Kenya a few years ago, all the blame will be put on Kenya for starting some mess and, you know, things along those lines. But this time Kim was egging on Kenya. And so yeah, like I said, I'm on Kenya's side, even though in the general context what Kenya said would be off limits, but because she was egged on and backed into a corner, I can understand. But anyways, Kenya is just as cool as a cucumber, and Croy is basically escorting Kim out, and they head out of there. And so next we see Portia playing with her wigs or whatever, and then Sheree, Kim, and Croy show up asking for a drink, and Kim starts spilling the tea to Portia. And it's like, first off, are Kim and Portia even friends? And then I think about it, it doesn't matter because Portia will sip any tea regarding these girls who went to a party that she wasn't invited to. But anyways, they go back and forth with different people telling their different sides of the story. And apparently Kenya says that Brielle posted something on Instagram about her, you know, not being able to afford her house and her, you know, invisible boyfriend. And it's like, okay, Brielle is grown now, and so that means she can get it. Like, you know, it's all fair in, you know, love and war. And it's like, when you post grown-up things on Instagram, you know, grown-up things happen to you and your mommy can't come to your rescue anymore. But in this case, Kim was wrong for posting the tweet, first of all, and Kim had the story mixed up. I do not recall Kim saying anything about an injured son, and Sheree said that as well. Like, I don't remember her saying anything about an injured son, but okay, anyways. But I think in that instance, Kim was putting 20 on 10 and was trying to make Kenya seem like a villain. It was funny to me that Kim was more upset about the injured son part, which never actually happened, than opposed to her talking about Brielle, which we know for sure did happen. That was very weird. And you know what Iyanla says? You have to be careful about what you tell yourself about what happened to you. But anyways, moving on. When Portia said you know, she's talking about your injured son and your whole daughter. I thought that was so funny. I died. I had to pause the TV. That was so funny to me. But anyways, they pan back over to Nene's house where everybody's talking about the issue. Cynthia is taking up for Kenya and Nene does not like it. We'll talk about Nene's unspoken rules of friendship a little bit later on. But, and y'all, I can't believe that people watch Don't Be Tardy. Who wants to see that? Who cares about Kim and Croy and their 6 going on 7 kids, is it? Whatever. Anyways, so Candy is back in town after doing her photo shoot, which to me again was underwhelming fashion wise, but whatever. Candy feels guilty about, you know, leaving her children, and I'm like, hey, get over it. First of all, Riley is used to it, and as opposed to her dad, Block, you're there way more than he is, so I think she'll appreciate what you do for her, what you have done for her in her life. Now, as far as Ace is concerned, he's too young to remember your presence in his life, so get all this work out the way while he's younger so you can live off the fruit of your labor when he gets older and needs more of your attention. Like, okay, Candy, we get it. It's okay to work and leave your children at home with their responsible father, you know? But anyway, Sheree shows up, and I feel like she's been super ethnic with her hairstyles lately, and I like it. But anyway, Sheree is telling the story, and she includes the injured son bit, even though she didn't hear with her own ears about the injured son. And even Don Juan, who I don't like, even less so than Kim Zolciak and Kenya, was like, I don't believe that Kenya would say that. I don't either, but and I didn't hear it with my own ears, but Sheree did admit that I didn't hear that part, but Kim swears she heard it. Anyway, Sheree is supposed to be doing something for herself, but instead she turns it into a group therapy session for the girls. I feel like this little assignment that she's doing, whatever, this little girls trip thing, does not qualify, does not meet the criteria of the assignment, aka do something for yourself. That type of thing. I think that she feels this is going to be a bonding opportunity, but being the bone collector, I feel like this is going to be an opportunity for all the drama to come out, which is what Sheree feeds off of, you know, because she doesn't have anything else to offer to the show. But Candy says, I'm not going to miss it because there's going to be a lot of drama going on. After she just said, well, I don't know if I want to leave my baby at home. Okay, Candy. Yeah, you live for the drama too. So next we see Cynthia and Noelle. And Noelle wants to spread her wings, and she broke up with her boyfriend. You know, Cynthia said she was proud of her or whatever. And Cynthia really likes Will, and she's hoping that he'll ask her on a second date. And he does. Something about a boat. So that's nice. Next we see Nene, and y'all, Nene is very weird to me. I remember saying last time that I felt like Portia was selfish because a lot of people cater to her and to her needs, and they don't say what they need to say to spare her feelings and stuff like that, and so that creates a very selfish attitude. I feel like when it comes to Nene and Greg, Nene is selfish in the same way, in that Greg has spent all of his time catering to Nene and you know spoiling Nene, that for whatever reason she feels like aloof and distant from the issues that are going on with Greg. And she's asking Greg about his health. Why doesn't Nene know that he has 9, 10, 11 medications? Why isn't Nene there at the hospital with him when he's learning about his health condition? What makes Nene think that she doesn't have to be there to support her husband in that type of way? And that just really bothers me about Nene. You spend all this time talking about how good of a friend you are to Portia, how good of a friend you've been to Marlo, how good of a friend you were to Cynthia, but how good of a wife are you to your husband that, one, you're not there when he goes into surgery, you're on your way, but you gotta, your makeup looks fine and your wig is on nice, okay? Anyways, and then when it comes to his condition and how he's improving and how many medications he has to take and how you know, the medications were not interacting properly with each other, why were you not there to receive that information when Greg received that information? Hopefully I'm making sense. I understand that as a busy woman, she can't be everywhere with her husband when he's somewhere. But if it's regarding your husband's health, the husband that you love so much, the husband that you know, divorced and then got back married to, like, why aren't you there for him? I I didn't mean to harp on that for so long, but that really bothered me. Like, why is she getting her information secondhand from Greg? Like, she should be talking to the doctor directly or be there so that she can get this information for herself, because things get lost in translation. Not saying that Greg would lie to Nene or anything, but what I'm saying is that Nene needs to get the information from the horse's mouth, and in this case Greg is not that horse. And Greg gives Nene, you know, his blessing for her to go on the girls trip with the other girls. So next we see Kenya crying again, and I'm like, what's she crying about this time? But this time it's legit. Her grandmother, which was basically like her mother, the person who raised her, has passed away. She was 86 years old and she had Alzheimer's. Now, I am not one to be insensitive. I understand how it is to lose somebody that is very important to you. So I'm going to be very cautious when I say these next few things, because it's going to come off insensitive. But anyways, so Kenya says that Mark, her new husband, right after they got married, met Kenya's grandma slash mom, the person who raised her or whatever. And I'm like, nobody has met Mark. Not even your dad, and your grandma meets him. And it's not my husband, not my life. I just do the reviews. Anyways, so Kenya says that her grandma waited to pass away until she knew that somebody would be there to take care of her granddaughter slash daughter. And I'm like, okay. Or you knew that your grandmother's time was coming to an end, and you got married so that your grandma would be okay with leaving. Basically, you put her out of her misery by making her think that you got married and had somebody to take care of you. Because I don't know how he's taking care of you if he's in New York and you're in Atlanta. Something about that was fishy too. But again, it's not my relationship. I'm not that invested, but I just like to, you know, play devil's advocate sometimes when I do my reviews. But anyways, so Kenya didn't know that if she was going to be able to go on the girls trip, probably something conflicting with the funeral and, you know, making plans for the funeral and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, condolences to Kenya. It was somebody very important to her, her mama slash grandmama, and, you know, again, my condolences. But moving on, we see Nene. She has this amazing closet. Y'all, I am not a clothes person. If you all can't tell, I just put on whatever's in my, you know, it's a walk-in closet, but it's not as big as a room like Nene's is. But y'all, I'm not a clothes person. I just recently kind of got into fashion or whatever, but because I'm not rich and I'm broke, I can't be out, you know, buying all these clothes when I got these student loans coming up. But anyways, Marlo comes into the closet, and the closet is organized by color and what has sequins in this. She has all these Louboutins everywhere, and you know, Nene is Nene and Marlo is Marlo with their fashions or whatever. And I'm gonna say something that I put in a tweet, because I was kind of live tweeting this today, but I've never been here for Marlo. I feel like she lacks substance, and there's nothing special about her. Besides how fashionable she is, how magical her financial situation is, because nobody knows how she gets money to pick up cars in California. And then there's the side of her that we're going to talk about when it comes to getting information out of the girls. But we'll talk about that a little later. And so Nene is basically vindictively invited Marlo to get back at Cynthia for being so close to Kenya. Marlo is invited out of convenience. But Marlo is so thirsty to be noticed as a friend of the show. She's there, and we'll talk about that later too. But anyways, let's move on. So here is the rest of the majority of the show is about the trip. And so Portia is the first person to arrive to the airport. Then Candy comes along and basically ignores Portia. And Portia's like, you know, it's okay. She still needs time. And it's like, you know, Jesus could probably come back to Earth and Candy still wouldn't be ready to be on good terms with you, Portia. So it's not time that she needs, because no amount of time is gonna fix what went down last season. So I don't think that's ever gonna be fixed. Anyways, Kim is not coming, thank goodness, because I don't want to see her face. Y'all know how Kim is about going on trips and whatnot. She didn't go with them to South Africa. The reason that she left the show is because she was making up excuses about not going on a trip when she was pregnant, when they went to Anguilla. Like, y'all know how Kim is about trips, but she made it about Kenya and was like she wouldn't be comfortable with Kenya being there, which was a good excuse. Whatever. Moving on, Cynthia shows up next, and Kenya and Nene are so late that the ladies are like, we gotta get to the gate. And Candy is like, well, not enough people are missing, aka Portia can leave, is basically what she was saying. But anyways, Nene and Kenya showed up at the gate, and now they're on a bus that's transporting them from the airport in San Francisco to their hotel, which is Hotel Via, which looks super nice. But anyways, on the way there, they have sex talk, and it's in these moments that I remember why I like Real Housewives of Atlanta. Not that I'm super excited about sex talk, because I mean, just the moments where these ladies are getting along, revealing secrets. I mean, these are the moments where I'm like, you know, this is why I like this show. This is why I fell in love with these ladies, you know? But anyways, Sheree opens up the floodgates of her relationship life, and you know, Candy was right. You know, Jack Daniels, you know, makes you loose and have, you know, diarrhea of the mouth, because Kenya like hit the nail on the head, and she was like, so you were with somebody, but you haven't been with them sexually lately because they're incarcerated? And Sheree's like, yeah, girl. And everybody is like, whoa, like such this private person who is all about collecting bones from other people's lives is opening her closets to reveal her skeletons. Like, how revolutionary is that? But anyways, so Sheree like was very open about it. She was giving you a timeline. She was like, well, we lost touch. I didn't know that he went to jail, but now we're back in touch. And it's like, there's no way. There's no way. Sheree is pulling a Phaedra, y'all. Not with the pregnancy. But you know, falling in love with a man out in jail. I can't. That's still very crazy to me. I'm ready to see how that unfolds. So you know, finally Sheree is giving us a storyline that we can actually care about. But anyways, Marlo finally makes her appearance at this dinner, and Sheree is still wearing the same clothes that she flew to San Francisco in. And Candy's old hungry self was like, well, if she was just gonna wear the same clothes, why do we have to wait 2 hours to get dinner? And I was thinking the same thing. I didn't think anybody would bring that up, that she was wearing the same clothes that she flew in. But all the ladies had dressed up and got fancy, excluding Sheree, and this is when Marlo makes her appearance. And y'all, Kenya is not funny to me, but Kenya cracked me up when she said, you know, I shouldn't be surprised that Marlo is here, because she would come to the opening of an envelope. And that was so funny to me. And like I said, Marlo is a little, you know, thirsty to be on the show. While I would never consider her more than just a friend of the show, I do think that we'd be in for an interesting season if Marlo were to hold a peach. I don't like her. I don't want her to hold a peach, but she would probably bring the drama if she did. Just saying. Anyways, but you know, Marlo was there, and when you don't have a job, you know, you just have a bunch of free time. So, you know, why should you be surprised? Sheree, you know, was like, you know, kind of on the fence. She was like, you know, I didn't give Nene a +1, but Marlo has this special way of bringing out certain truths. So I have decided to give Marlo the title of bone extractor. So Sheree is the bone collector, but Marlo is the bone extractor. She's the one that's digging up the skeletons and pulling them out. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. So we see Portia and Nene, they are arguing over semantics, because Portia uses the word angry, and Nene, for whatever, hones in on the word angry, and that makes her more angry, like more argumentative with her. So they're arguing over semantics or whatever. Portia wants to get to the bottom of it, but Nene just wants to be right. And so this is Nene again with her weird unspoken rules of friendship, and Nene's is arguing so much that her bun is falling out and whatnot. And in this situation, nobody is right. They're all going back to what you said on Dish Nation. This is what you said on Watch What Happens Live. This door was closed, and I was a great friend to you, and I was the one who helped keep you on the show. But now you're saying that I took food out of your mouth, and you did try to take food out of my mouth. And no, you took food out of Phaedra's mouth because she's not here. This isn't about Phaedra. Like, they just went back and forth. I was very annoyed. Nobody is right, and especially nobody's right. Everybody in that situation is wrong. Kenya liked to chime up, and I'm like, Kenya, you shouldn't say nothing to Portia about nothing. You should remember how you were dragged across the floor. That's all you should know. You should never talk to Portia in any type of argument that Portia is in, unless you want the megaphone dragging to happen again, okay? I feel like because nobody can really deal with Portia anymore, that she should be the next person to leave the show. But I think the difference between me saying Portia should leave the show and Nene saying that Portia should leave the show is that Nene was saying it out of spite because she does feel like Portia was not a good friend to her, and Nene was saying it with the clout of being basically one of the only original Real Housewives of Atlanta. So this is the end of my review. We're going to talk about what's happening next time. So next time, Cynthia is coaching Portia and the unspoken rules of friendship regarding Nene. And let's think about it. Nene has definitely fallen out with all of her closest friends on the show, okay? Her and Kim, buddy, fell out. Her and Marlo, buddy, fell out. Her and Cynthia, buddy, you call my husband the B word, fell out. Portia and Nene, buddy, I'm supporting you after you dragged the least favorite person on the show across the floor. But then, you know, words got exchanged and we're not friends anymore. So Nene has a history of having friendships, breaking them up, and getting them back together. And so at this point, they're just breaking them up. That's just the way it goes in the cycle of Nene's friendships. Moving on, Tyrone, who is the person that Sheree is dating that's currently incarcerated, is a con artist, according to Nene, and Candy hopes that he don't con her out of Chateau Sheree. But you can't con a con artist, okay? Anyways, Marlo deep throats a bunch of grapes. And talk about declassing the show, Nene. This is the person that needs to go, who's declassing the show. And Candy's like, oh my gosh. I mean, Candy is so weird because she has bedroom candy and we know her to be a freak, but she scoffs at people deep throating grapes. Candy is so weird. They have a mock wedding with a mystery man and they're making fun of Kenya, which I think is going way too far. Who has time on their hands to organize a fake wedding with fake guests? Nobody has time for that. That's too much. And lastly, Marlo begins her bone extracting duties and waits till Kenya has left the table, I'm assuming, to ask, now how many of you really think that Kenya is married? And Cynthia walks away angry. I don't want to hear nothing about Kenya. Don't none of y'all better not say nothing about Kenya. This is kind of confirming what Nene says about Cynthia being buddy with Kenya. And so Cynthia has some unspoken rules of friendship on her own, but they're not unspoken because they're in a friendship contract. This episode was so good that my energy was very different when I was talking about the show, because usually I feel like I was like kind of dull and lackluster compared to today when the episode actually had like some substance. It was kind of exciting and there was some drama and there was some new stuff that we learned and that we talked about. We still haven't seen Eva, you know, America's Next Top Model, who's currently pregnant. Congratulations. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. This video was super long, but the episode was great. So thank you guys, all of you who watch, all of you who have been subscribing. I have finally made it to 200 subscribers. Thank you so very much. This YouTube channel thing is a thing that I do on the side, but it has given me great pleasure. It's taught me more about how to be consistent and how rewarding being consistent in something can be. So there's some new things that are going to be coming up for my channel, especially now that I'm graduating in less than 2 weeks. Whoop, whoop. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And tell your friends. Peace out, home slices.